Hi, I'm Bruce Morrison from MotorActive, and today I'd like to talk to you about Designer Wraps, Style and Protection by 3M. If we look at the wrap concept, commercial wraps have been around for well over 10 years, and basically they took over from sign writing, where you actually had to paint different graphics onto a commercial vehicle. So these white vinyl films were printed on through a special printer, and then used a clear overlaminate applied to the finished job to protect those printed areas. Still a very big part of the business. If we look at the second phase of wraps, these were architectural films. They were textured instead of being white and printed on, so they could be installed straight up. They were used in all kinds of architectural applications, in buildings and office fit-outs, for example. They were never designed for automotive use, but they did find their way into automotive applications, despite the limitations of the technology. A lot of the knockoff films you see in today's market in the automotive sector really come from these architectural areas, but they have lots of limitations like permanent adhesive, lack of conformability, and so on. If we look at the third phase of vehicle wraps now, which we call designer wraps, these are films that have been specifically designed for automotive use. In most cases, they are textured or plain but coloured. And we describe these designer wraps as highly advanced vinyl film that's a genuine alternative to paint. If you look at the features of the 3M designer wrap program, a key part of this is the control tack adhesive. And adhesives form a huge part of how you apply films to either automotive or many other applications. The control tack adhesive is dry applied, so instead of having to wet down an area and squeegee out the air bubbles and moisture and so forth so you could reposition the film, these can go down dry and yet remain repositionable. Another key feature of the control tack adhesive in our 3M films is these incredible air release channels. So when you lay down film on a surface, the easiest thing to happen will be to trap air, and the air has to go somewhere, otherwise it will bubble. So what happens with these films that are designed for these applications allows you to, if you like, squeeze out the air through invisible air channels that are built into the adhesive. The air runs all the way to the edge and out of the film. Otherwise, once that air heats up outside, once it gets some temperature into air, it expands, and you might think you've got a small bubble and end up with a large bubble or crease. The third key feature in our control tack adhesive on our 3M films is the fact that they're designed to be removable. Now, this is very important. If you lay down film on a car, you will want to take that off one day, whether to sell the vehicle or change the design. So this becomes a really important attribute of the product, that when you want to take it off, it's easily removed. That means the film and all the adhesive comes off clean with no remaining residue. If it doesn't do that, it's a major hurdle to get that film back off the car again, or clean up the residue with solvents and so forth, and that can also damage your paint. If we look at the key features of the film itself, as I said, these are effect textures or colours. It gives you a great range of products to choose from, where you can combine colours and different textures in a two-tone finish, for example. But importantly, these films actually are highly conformable and stretchable. And as you'll see in the application, this is really, really important because the curves on a car can tilt both ways. So when you're looking to pull the film over an area that curves in two directions, it has to conform and has to have a certain amount of stretch. Another key feature of the film itself is how long-lasting the film is. Many films are actually designed for quite temporary use, but these for automotive applications are getting up with the life of paint. There's even a full 5-year warranty on our designer wrap program. So now we're going to go over to Alex and Mick and show you how it's done.
Thanks, Bruce. Now what we're going to do here on this GTR this morning is use our matte orange, our carbon black in accessory packs along with our Knifeless tape to do some two-tone striping. What Alex is doing here is spraying the area that he's going to apply the film with a wax and grease remover. This is designed to remove any wax or grease or road grime that may be on the bonnet prior to laying down any vinyl. Remember to not only clean the top surfaces, but any under edges or anywhere that the film's going to come in contact with paint. Now that he's finished with the wax and grease remover, it's critical that you follow it using the isopropyl alcohol, or IPA as we call it. Using the IPA will remove any residue left behind from the wax or grease remover and give the surface a final prep before you're ready to lay down the vinyl. So the stripes that Alex is putting on the car today are going to go down the centre of the vehicle. So what he's doing here is just measuring to find the centre of the bonnet. Due to the nature and the shape of some bonnets, it's often a good way to find the centre by using a badge. They're generally found in the centre, like Alex is doing here. Now that he's got an idea of the centre of the bonnet, it's important to lay the designer wrap out to make sure that everything lines up before you peel the backing off. Now that everything measures up, it's time to pull the backing off the film. Take your time, be careful, you don't want the film catching on itself or creasing. As you can see here, and what Bruce touched on earlier, the product is dry applied, there's no water or lubricant needed. The product's also conformable, meaning that it follows shapes and curves. It's also designed to stretch, which helps you get around some of those complex shapes. Again, making the process of laying the vinyl to the panel much, much easier. The squeegee that he's using comes in the kit along with a cutting blade. Now that the film's been laid down on the bonnet, he's using the squeegee to move the air out from the centre. Again, one of the keys about this product is its air release technology. What that means is as the air gets trapped under the film, there are these invisible channels that, as you can see there, he's slowly pushing the air to the outer edges so no air will get trapped. You can see here on this leading edge where the film's wanting to gather or bunch. One of the really, really cool features of this film, again being a cast, is it has a memory, and with applied heat, it relaxes and resets itself, ready to go again. I talked about stretch or conformability before, and here's a really good example. This product has a tolerance of up to 30%. Again, just making the process of wrapping around a complex shape or a curve much, much easier than other films on the market. Remove between the film and the panel itself. It's onto the final step of trimming. Please take your time, this is really important, you don't want to rush it. With it trimmed, you now roll the film to the underside of the edge. Remember I talked earlier about the importance of cleaning the underside. If it's not clean, it may delaminate or lift. Again, with it trimmed, I can't stress the importance of making sure that you do clean the underside of that edge in order to stop the vinyl wanting to lift. You can use your hand or use your squeegee, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. And that's the base colour done. He certainly makes it look easy, but with time and a bit of care, you too can do this. Now we're moving on to the next part and getting ready to measure out for the carbon stripes that are going to go over the top of the matte orange. He's using the tape here, again, as a guide for alignment of the design line or knifeless tape we're about to use. He's putting a piece at the top and a piece at the bottom because we're going to join those two sections with a line. You want to make sure that it stays true or straight. Really with striping, it's up to you and your imagination exactly how you want to do it. With the tape down, ready to go, it's time to lay down the knifeless tape. So what he's doing is lining it up with the outer edge. It's a bit hard to picture here exactly how this is going to finish up. but wherever you see the pieces of green tape will be where an orange stripe will be. The knifeless tape itself is a highly conformable vinyl cutting tape. So while we're using it here for striping, it can be used for anything from stripes through to flames, curves. You're really limited by your imagination. The beaut thing about it is it cuts as clean as a blade and stops you from wanting to cut or having to cut the vinyl on the paintwork. It's important to remember that this knifeless tape is designed to cut through single layers of film only. Now that the stripes or the lines are down with the knifeless tape, just make sure that you go back over them and push down firmly to make sure it's in position. The last thing you want this to do is come undone or loose beneath the film we're about to lay over the top. So before we overlay the carbon onto this, we need to make sure that the surface again is clean. So just a quick wipe over with a microfiber towel and the IPA to make sure it's ready to go. With the surface clean now, we're going to get the carbon fibre into position, ready to overlay. Once the backing's off, it's going to tack the wrap onto the surface so it stays in place. Again, being repositionable, you can lift it off and place it back down, but it just makes it easier when you peel the backing off. With it tacked at the top, he's putting gentle pressure on either corner and slowly pulling it down. Again, the conformability of the film makes this a lot easier than numerous products on the market. If you find that it gathers or bunches up, again, you can lift it up, set it, put it back down. A little bit of pressure to go over the underside of that edge. And again, you'll apply the heat to restore the memory in the vinyl, smooth it out, eliminate the gathering, and then fold on the underside of that edge. With heat, you can either use the heat gun, as shown here by Alex, or a hairdryer. Just remembering a hairdryer will take a lot longer. Let it cool down for a moment before you lift it off, and then tucking away on the underside. You can use your hand or a squeegee, whatever you feel more comfortable using. With the film in place, he's now again going to use the squeegee to push the air out of the film. Remember, it's important not to fold over the edges. You need the air a chance to get out. If you fold those edges, it has nowhere to go and will be trapped. With the vinyl in place, you want to trim off the excess. Again, avoid cutting on the panel. You don't want to put any marks or cuts into your paintwork. It's important to make sure that when you did put your knifeless tape down, that it also is folded up and under the edge of the panel. You don't want to be cutting that either. There is a little trick or a process to get the knifeless tape started. It's a bit hard to show on the bonnet we've got here. So we've laid the knifeless tape down, overlaid it with a piece of carbon. You bend it back on itself, place your thumb on the end with a bit of pressure and give it a slight pull. As you approach the vinyl, give it a slight tug and then just pull it through the vinyl. Peel back the area that is to be removed and then carefully remove the backing tape or the green. There's two pieces to it. Then push down the edge and there you have it. Cut just like a knife. All right, now he's just going to peel back the knifeless tape. Again, it's cutting from the underside of the vinyl. Just take your time, it's not a race. All the way through to the end. Just removing the final one now. Now that the filament's been pulled through, peel back the area. You're starting to get a feel for what this is going to look like. With all the excess carbon removed, now it's a matter of removing the green filament or backing tape on the Knifeless. Remember, there's two pieces to this. If you haven't pulled two out, there's still one in there. Just slides out gently, pull it away from the film, and then folding the edge back down or pressing it down to set it in place. Don't forget to press the edges down where the tape has come out of. The final part of this, again, using your IPA and a microfiber towel, is give the surface a wipe over, removing any fingerprints, particularly if you're working with matte films. They tend to show fingerprints. Give it a clean. And there you have it, two-tone striping.